Okay, we are live. Okay, welcome back to the Blamegirl Podcast with
Mr. Terry Wayne.
what's up, Terry? And we have Brittany Brave in the house. Welcome, Brittany, to the Blamegirl Podcast.
Hey, I can't believe I'm raising the roof on Zoom right now. Look at me.
I love your enthusiasm, girl. Like
Terry does not.
Terry, he's low energy right now. He's low energy.
Yeah, I got to get warmed up.
Let's just call him Jeb Bush tonight. Why don't we? Low energy.
Okay, that's amazing. You're low energy. We'll call you Jeb Bush.
All right, I'm gonna be taking jabs at him all night. All
I
right,
love
so, and he'll do it back. He'll do it back.
I might need to start throwing some, I think.
Oh, I'll throw these hands here. Okay, so anyway, Brittany, how was your weekend?
It was fine. What did I do? It was just yesterday. I did comedy all weekend. And then I got to interview Angela Johnson yesterday, which was cool. That was fun at the Miami Improv. Yeah, that's all I did. I don't have a life. All I do is comedy. So that was my whole weekend. And I definitely didn't get enough sleep. So
I hear that's what it takes,
yeah. Yeah. No, I will say I did hang out with friends. I got some friend time in on Friday night. So that was nice. Nice little hang. So
What about you, Terry? How was your weekend?
Pretty good. I worked all day Saturday, and then Sunday. Oh, Sunday I went to a kind of like a housewarming party / movie marathon.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun. I was high all day.
nice.
So, yeah,
Nice.
that's a good day.
Nice. Jeb Bush is a busy social man. I love it.
I am a social butterfly.
So thanks for asking about my weekend.
Nobody cares.
How was your weekend?
Thank you, Brittany. My weekend was fun. It was chill, actually. I watched a lot of stuff this weekend. I watched Euphoria. I had not seen that. I binged through it.
Does
And
Zendaya get naked in that? Because I'll watch it for that.
no,
Yeah.
Who gets naked in that? Depending on who I might watch.
there's a lot of nudity.
I was asking if Zendaya.
And it's not all
naked in that.
like fake teenager nudity, because of course these kids, they can't be teenagers showing their boobs on TV. So but
Yeah.
they're portraying kids.
Stupid laws.
That
showing-
teenagers are only allowed to show their boobs to their uncle in person.
That's
Thank
right.
you. We all know that. No,
I'm
okay.
here to lay the law down. Okay.
So I did Euphoria, and then Saturday I worked and I did mushrooms. And
Hell yeah.
yes, it was a lot of fun. I watched TV with another comic and my friend, a good friend of mine, and I'm like, should I put their names out there? I don't know. Like,
Maybe their mom's watching. They don't want them to know they do shrooms. Like I
think I know who it is.
I know, but yeah. So we did shrooms.
Joanna.
Yeah, right. I wish, but no. It was a lot of fun. And then we watched Terminator 2.
The best one.
Oh my God, the best one.
Yeah.
And I just was thinking about, like, I've never watched any of the other Terminators. So then we watched Terminator 3. And then I came home and watched Terminator 4. And I finished it the next day and watched Terminator 5 and 6.
Oh, so you like this and you kept this going past the shroom trip.
Yeah. The next day I was like, I want to know what ever happened with John Connor.
No,
and,
1 and 2 are good. The rest are
no.
garbage.
You know what I realized about the Terminators is that
They should stop after 2.
if Arnold's in it, it's entertaining at the very least.
Well, he's just an entertaining person. Like I would watch videos of him trying to sing lullabies to kids, and it would be entertaining.
But so they did one with, I think it was Christian Bale. That was He was John Connor, and it was so boring.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks was in it. I didn't really like it. That was the work. Or Arnold wasn't in it.
That was Salvation.
I never understand why movies and TV shows do that. Like when the lead person, main face, can't do it anymore or leaves, and they're like, no, we're gonna persist and keep this going. I'm like, that's a sign to don't make that movie or cut.
Wait till he's done being governor, right?
I really don't know. California is a very interesting land to me. I don't know anything going on over there, so maybe.
Well, I think the only movie he didn't do was Salvation, and that maybe he was governor during that time and he couldn't do it or whatever. They could have just waited and just skipped that movie, or I don't know.
I think the franchise was trying to get away from it.
No, you can't. You need Arnold.
Can't. It's forever imprinted in your brain. That's it. You can't.
And I like how they kept bringing him back, but anyway.
Also, wait, I have a question. What's it like doing shrooms? I've never done shrooms. Can I ask that on here?
Why don't you come over and we'll find out?
I'm not ready. I'm scared. I think I would be such a buzzkill on shrooms. Like, I'm not. Oh, good. You're drinking wine too? Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Terry's got a beer. Yes, girl.
Cheers. Boink. Hell yeah. We're getting naked by the end of this.
The thing about shrooms is, let me say this: if you've got a very like upbeat personality, not low energy like Terry or myself, I feel like I'm low energy too. But you know, you need to take as many as those around you are taking, or else you're gonna be like all this upbeat, maybe still, and then everyone's gonna be like, because it kind of just chills you out. And this time, you know, while watching the TV, like it's just weird. You like see different colors, and you're just more entertained by it. I don't know. Nothing crazy happened.
I couldn't stop grinning. That was my thing. Is I was just you were just bubbly and happy.
Oh, well, okay. So it's essentially an antidepressant, basically.
Yeah,
definitely.
A little bit.
I think they're using it to okay, Dylan, you got to get out, buddy.
I know that. I know like psychedelics and shit are used to like rewire people's brains after trauma and depression and stuff. And God knows I have both of those things. So I probably should be. I'm actually probably like the poster child for shrooms, honestly. Yeah.
You should definitely, you know, because people are like microdosing them now. But I mean, I took shrooms before in college, and you know, I just was like, oh, I would like to do that again. And I took LSD. That is way more intense. And not in college, I took that, and I don't know if I would take it now. I kind of am interested, but then I'm kind of not, because it could be
that seems like a kind of drug that you try to take that recreationally as an adult, and you wake up the next day and you're like, I ruined my whole life.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, we got to get going on these topics, because I know.
Okay, let's do it. I'm sorry, I'm chatty. Sorry.
No, I just want to say this about LSD. I met this dude that said he he just seemed so happy, and he had taken LSD so many times. He's like, I know all the answers to the universe. He had money, he had a wife, he was cheating on his wife, like just happy as fuck. And I was just like, you seem like so happy. He's like, I live in paradise.
I live in I live in Paris, and he comes down from it, and it's like your wife left you, your kids hate you, your house is on fire, and you lost your job. He's like,
actually, I think that was a Lonely Island video from Saturday Night Live with a guy with the coke head.
Yeah. All right, guys. This story stood out to me. It was so crazy. But this UK doctor carved his initials on transplant patients' livers. Who's to blame here? Like, what in the entitlement? What do y'all think?
It's just a liver. Calm down.
It's just like necessary to survive.
No one can see it.
It's the most resilient organ in the body. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I do know that it is a resilient organ.
And what's crazy about this?
It's a weird way. It's a weird place to tag yourself.
It's an older story, but this doctor's about to be let back loose. So that's why they're like, you know, publishing stories about it again. But I didn't see this before. He carved his initials. Like, why would someone do that? It was only a few patients.
Really, what you want to do is you take a Sharpie and you can put them in there. That you don't carve, obviously.
I agree. You want to leave an autograph, right, Terry? That's what I think it is. He's like some people sign titties. He's carving on a liver.
But do it with like a Sharpie. You can draw a little picture, because that says 1,000 words.
It's like he's an artist, right? You know, like leaves his initials on his art.
And they thought Banksy was risky as a tagger.
What do you think? What do you think, Brittany?
I think who's to blame here, I think, is his mother and his parents, because they raised a fucking narcissist, is what I think. So I'm going to take it back. Like, I first was like, maybe the person who hired him. And then I was like, we got to go back even further. Yeah. And then I was like, maybe someone along his life in college that he was like, no, we got to go back even further. I thought his therapist. And I'm like, I think this kind of behavior starts in the home in early adolescence.
Entitled as fuck. That's what I thought. I was like, this entitled motherfucker.
You know what it seems
like? What?
If Trump was a surgeon, this seems like something he would do.
100%.
Trump and surgeon, that is an oxymoron, because he is a moron.
Well, you know what's funny is we thought Trump and president was an oxymoron, and we got that. So anything's possible. That's all.
You ain't lying, bitch.
If you think you can't be a moron and a surgeon, you're crazy.
Think again.
Yeah. There's plenty of dumbass surgeons out there.
1.6-inch initials were discovered by another doctor when an organ transplanted by this doctor, Bramhall, failed after about a week. So you putting your initial in bad livers too, like.
Why is he proud? He's too proud of himself. That's what I take from that. Yeah.
Did the initials make the liver fail?
I don't think so, but maybe it's his way of razzing other doctors. Like, I got here first, you know.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, oh, typical man.
Stating her, you know, it's like that.
I was stake and claim. I thought that's what he was doing, like the way like dogs pee and they're like, okay, this is my home now. He was like, yeah, it's like, or like girls, like I don't know, like if you like think he's seeing other girls, you're like, I'm gonna make sure I leave something at his place so that whenever she comes over.
Yeah, there you go.
Just me. Sorry. She knows somebody else has been here.
You guys leave stuff in our place and we leave stuff inside you. That's you know.
Not me. I get it out before 8 weeks. So
it's just
no, I meant like things like a ring, just push it up in there. It'll stay for a while.
It's completely non-consensual behavior. It's gonna find that watch. So inappropriate. I can't. So Terry, I'm not going to transition to the next one because you brought this story and you said you wanted to bring it. So you go for it.
Yeah, this is just my thought because I was watching what was happening with the Supreme Court, and a lot of their recent decisions have gone strictly on ideological lines, you know. So if we have now, because for the last 30 years, I've looked at the Supreme Court as it's this own thing off to itself and not to be affected by politics. But now, since everything's political, is the Supreme Court kind of useless at this point?
Who's to blame?
Yeah, who's to blame for the politicization, politics being allowed to influence the court, which was supposed to always be above all this?
And like just
founding fathers.
I want to go a little deeper into the backstory about it. There's these decisions, right? The National Federation of Independent Business versus Department of Labor, and then Biden versus Missouri. And their reasoning just completely does not go fall in line with each decision. It's
they blocked Biden's mandate order for large businesses to have people either vaccinated or tested regularly. But the Supreme Court itself has a vaccine mandate.
That's
you can't even walk in the building. Right.
That's also a thing.
But then they ruled against it for the population. So once hypocrisy that blatant kind of gets in there, it's like, do we even really need this anymore? Or is it just SCOTUS just for show?
Well, it's not even that. The Supreme Court may have it or may not, but it's the OSHA regulations. And they're saying on one hand that OSHA, you know, they gave them full administrative power, but now they're saying that they can't have vaccine mandates. And then there was something else. There was so much to read. I'm sorry, folks, but there was something else with the other decision, and it was dealt with healthcare workers, and it was just these decisions, and then what they're doing for themselves is just completely contradictory. So it's like the Supreme Court, their integrity is just gone. Who's to blame?
Yeah. The last 100 years of American history is my answer. I don't know. Well, I think okay, I think it's kind of crazy. I really actually think the person to blame here is like founding fathers and the people who like built this country. And I also would put blame on politicians moving forward. And I'm going to tell you why. I think it's banana bread that the principles and the documents on which we built this country have not been changed or really tweaked in hundreds of years. Like, isn't that like insane?
Yeah.
Like, that's just like insane. Like, we just laid it down, made it law, and then now we're expecting all of these things to hold up. Yeah. And I just think, and like, it's kind of like what you guys are saying, like nobody really has any power in the government. Like the president really doesn't even, the president just has like influence, but like he gets checked. I think it's all a joke at this point.
Well, he's got executive orders. That's what the president has.
That's his big thing.
Everything else has to go through Congress, but
it's all supposed to be checks and balances.
I am blaming Donald Trump specifically.
Okay.
I thought about that too. Yeah.
Ever since 2008, he has been hyper politicizing everything. And that's all you really need. You need a charismatic leader and you need an enemy. And if you can't find one, you can make one.
Yeah.
Usually disenfranchised people
Well,
already.
he's like the Tea Party personified. Remember the Tea Party and how dumb we thought they were?
God.
Well, we elected him. And yes, he spread all this misinformation. Now people want to, you know, get their healthcare information from Joe Rogan, and they're like, you can't mandate vaccines. That's wrong. Yeah. It's not wrong.
Wait, you can mandate vaccines. We've been doing it with children forever. Literally.
Yeah.
If you went to a public school, you got vaccinated by mandate.
If you're hardcore anti-vaccine, why are your kids in public school?
Well, that's also true. Yeah. And I mean, there's all this hypocrisy. That's the one thing this pandemic has brought out in both politicians and just like civilians and everybody in between, is just like blatant hypocrisy with everything. Like, think about how all these Republicans are like anti-vax, but all of the ones in power and the wealthy ones and the politicians are vaccinated. So
are fucking vaccinated.
Vaccinated. So it's all, and there's no actual free thought anymore. And the people that are challenging things think that they're promoting free thought, but they're really just trying to be woke assholes. And like, everything's also politicized, because when it's politicized, it's money making. And that's the whole thing. This just got why I sound like I should be on Joe Rogan, but I think inherently our system and the bipartisan system and all of that is very flawed. And maybe it worked back then in much simpler times, but it's not working.
You know how corrupt it is when our fucking courts are like this. Like, they are playing politics.
That was the thing, is the Supreme Court was supposed to be the one thing that was above all this. It was supposed to be pure, and it was for a long time. But, and not to mention, I mean, let's try and remember why 3 of those justices are on there, you know. And
I also blame Ruth Bader Ginsburg for dying, because I think when she died, shit went south. I loved her.
The Republicans would have dug their heels in. They wouldn't have confirmed a new justice.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell is definitely a big part of it, because he wouldn't appoint Obama's
Merrick
Garland,
who is running the Justice Department now, right?
Well, yeah, but the point is, he said, he cited some old rule that you can't replace a Supreme Court justice.
Stop talking about
it. In an election year, and then he did it during Trump's last year.
All right.
I admire how you wanted to back out of that, Giovanni. You're like, that's enough. I'm getting upset.
By the way, I love that she said, I think it's banana bread, because I say banana sandwich. I prefer banana sandwich, but that's fine.
You can have banana sandwich, because I love bananas. I love saying things are bananas. So then, I've transitioned into like.
And then it just naturally flows to banana
and
sandwich.
I want to call you both Gwen Stefani. Like
what?
The shit is bananas. And fun fact, that is my all-time least favorite song. The way you just had a visceral reaction, like to Terry talking about like the Supreme Court and Mitch McConnell and all this shit. That's how I feel when Holla Back Girl comes on. I'm like, I'm gonna grab a baby bird and behead it. Okay. Anyway.
Fan.
No, I love her, but that song is so dumb. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get off my soapbox here.
No, I'm just kidding. You know who cannot be forgiven in my eyes? The cop in Florida that choked one of his colleagues, guys. A cop tried to stop another cop from inappropriate, unprofessional behavior with a suspect, and was choked by her colleague. Who's to blame here, guys?
Same thing that's always been to blame. Their training programs. If you've ever seen or heard, if you've never seen or heard a police training program, they are online. Find them and listen to them, because it is scary the way they teach you.
The thing here is that they are told to do this. They are told to do this in their training. They're saying, if you see one of your colleagues being unprofessional and inappropriate, you need to step in, and this is what she did. So I don't think it's necessarily just the police
should get
training.
You killed. There's been a lot of stories of cops who have intervened in other cops, and then next thing you know, you're not getting backup when you need it.
So fucking
it's police culture.
Brittany, what do you have to say about it?
I'm gonna go ahead. I assume this so much, but the cop who choked his colleague was a white man, right? I don't want to assume, but
Not just that. I'm glad you brought up race because she was trying to de-escalate a black man's arrest, by the way. Go ahead. Sorry for
got
interrupting.
you. But of course, right. I was like, oh my God, how progressive of him to choke out his colleagues instead of innocent black men. No, I think that I'm gonna go again a step
Wait,
further. That's called hashtag growth.
good.
He's switching targets.
Good material tonight, y'all. That's good. Go ahead.
We're cooking now. Who I think is to blame, I think I'm going to go a step further and a little bit deeper and say that it is mental health awareness and treatment for white men and men in America is what I think is to blame. I have a bit about serial killers and how I wish there were more female serial killers because I actually don't think we're naturally wired for it. Yada, yada, yada. Won't give away the golden bits here, but in doing and writing that bit, I did a lot of research on the history of serial killers. And obviously, in doing that, school shooters came up, mass murderers, all of these different things. It's almost all like it is wildly, predominantly men. And at that, white men too. So it kind of makes me think of a piece that Michael Ian Black had written a couple years ago when I do not remember the school shooting, and that is mostly embarrassing for our country because there's so many. I couldn't even tell you which one it was, but he wrote an op-ed for New York Times that's like, what is wrong with men in America? Like the men in America need help and need like stuff. And I swear to God, this is not man hating and this is not sexist or anything. It's just like I think that there's something to be said about like how they handle aggression and their own emotions. And
So I'm so glad you brought that up because that was part of my answer was male culture because it's not, like would he have choked out his male colleague? I don't know that he would have. I think he might have tried to fight him or buck him, but I don't think he would have just put his hands around his male colleague's neck. That's fucked up shit.
When you read the article, it seems like a very snap decision that he made. She tried to grab his belt and pull him away, and as he did that, he snapped around, turned, grabbed her by the neck, and then grabbed her by the vest.
He would not have done that to a man. He would not have gone for the neck with the man. I promise you.
I do agree. It's a different physical endeavor.
I don't know.
It's a different. It's like
anger gets you to a certain level.
He ain't going for no
or
neck.
you just attack whatever.
I could see that too. I think it's blind anger, and he just.
It might have been blind. It might have been blind anger, but
the thing is, this was.
What does he do to his wife at home? Is what I'm wondering.
This wasn't far away. This was in Sunrise. So close. Yeah, and there's a lot of cops that are, I don't want to say juicing because I don't want to say illegal steroids, but there's a lot of testosterone in cop culture.
Well, and then Brittany pointed out another thing I didn't get to finish, but I wanted to say also good on you for bringing up the mental health of these white men with what, like I know that they get this hard, like they're getting the finger pointed at them all the time now. Yeah. And it's not undeservedly so, but they need to be able to cope with receiving that even when it's not their fault. Because it's not all these current white men's fault. We know that. But that's who is at the top still today of the fucking power structure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these people still feel like they can choke women and beat up black men for no reason. And it's cool because I was talking to my friend today.
Is there a good reason to choke?
I was talking to my friend today about because she was saying that she would think that black men wouldn't be as toxic, and I'm like, sometimes they're more toxic, and I'm like, because all they have to hang on is being a man. They don't even have the white part.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
glad you brought that up about their mental health because they probably do need to turn to some type of therapy or something to cope with how the world's pointing their fingers at them now.
Pointing their fingers at them. And I think it's unlike black men, like for most white men, again, I'm not going to even generalize on their side of it either. Like it's just there's a lot of adversity that's absent in their upbringing and their early formative moments in school and in social settings. And unlike black men, they don't have the same fear of getting just shot for no reason when they leave their house and walk down the street. And then if you go and you make it a gender issue, it's from a young age, women are taught, we are expected to be emotional and be attentive to our feelings and process them and talk about them. And, you know, I say this in support of men. Like, I don't think that social structure and context and tone is there to allow men to feel what they feel growing up and process it immediately. It's an attack on their masculinity, their ego, their strength, their ability. And then you pair that with a white man who probably hasn't had, I would assume, not nowhere near the same adversity that a person of color has had. And then he becomes a law enforcement officer, and now he's got this inflated sense of power and this access to a firearm, and he's got, you're right, the whole world pointing at him. Like, this is all just like a recipe for disaster. Like, it's just all, like, so in his mind, he handled that the way a man would. In his mind, he handled that like the way that he should, the way that is correct. And he is a law enforcement, like, you know what I mean? Like,
well,
and
I hate to break in here, but as the only one with a penis, I would just like to say that a lot of this sounds like it's premeditated, and it isn't. You know, a lot of this comes from, like you said, upbringing, poor education.
I think conditions, not premeditated. Conditioning is what I was saying.
Yeah. I mean, things like this, somebody doesn't just like, oh, if she puts a hand on me, I swear to God, you know, like, it's not premeditated. And that's why I don't think it's necessarily.
I don't think we're making it seem premeditated.
We talked
about the snap decision.
Yeah.
But that was my point. Was saying, like, how does he react at home with his wife when she does it? You know, he's willing to fucking choke someone. That's aggressive, violent behavior. If that's your snap decision and you got a fucking gun, I'm questioning why the fuck you have a gun. Because you don't know how to control your emotions.
Well, anybody can have a gun, but why do you have a badge is a better question.
Okay, yeah.
By no means why do you have both? By no means premeditated, definitely much more social conditioning is what it is. And if you want to even remove gender and race from it as well, I think a lot of it also just goes back to how you were brought up and parental relationships and home life. And we can remove any other check boxes from that as well too. This all goes back to like how you were taught to resolve conflict, and also like your respect and your ability to coexist with other human beings, which we see it all the time. Like, you, even on a smaller scale, you go to a bar and you see somebody who gets too drunk and thinks someone's coming at them when really they're not. And before you know it, drinks are being thrown. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's just all how people handle and respond to conflict.
You don't see that with weed. You don't with weed.
Right.
And guess what? Weed is not just the cure-all for violence. And like these cops
we're moving along already.
Are you not ready to move on?
I was
just with shrooms either.
The only proof you need that's cultural is if you take our police stats on incidents like this, and then you compare them to, say, like Germany or Spain or England or any other first world developed nation other than this one. And it's not even close. The incidents of police violence are dramatically less.
And let me just add, before I go ahead and transition us and see if Brittany has anything, but cops also are notorious for violence against women. They're wild. So did you have anything else you wanted to add on that one?
Just a quick thing. I am a domestic violence survivor, and I spent 3 years of a lot of dealings with cops and a relationship that ended with restraining orders and long legal proceedings. And I had cops be violent with me. I had cops be dismissive when I was calling on them for literal like support, because I didn't know what else to do when my maniac boyfriend was beating the crap out of me. And like it was just so there is like there is violence against women with that as well too. And there's also like a dismissive attitude often towards what women are going through. I saw cops just openly take his side when, like, if you had half a brain and a pair of working eyes, you were like, she needs to go to the hospital and he needs to go to jail. And I saw white male cops walk in and be like, I don't want to point fingers. I didn't see how it went down. Wow. And it was like, what? Like, so yes, to that point, I have personally had experience with that. So yeah.
We're going to talk more about that later, because I definitely saw that. But I was saying earlier, like, you know, some therapy, maybe some cannabis can cure anger.
Call your mom, like you know, call your dad, call whoever you're still upset about. Like,
everything, right? Like, and we're finding out now that
there's nothing that weed can't do.
It blocks COVID compounds now, guys. Who's to blame here? Why didn't we know this sooner? Why is marijuana so awesome?
It's not that awesome.
Okay.
And it's one particular sativa strain that they tested, and they said it was lessening.
I saw CBDs and CBG.
I'm pretty sure CBD cures everything. At least that's how they market it nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it was like CBD and CBGA or something like that.
No, this was one report. It just came out, and it's already being debunked by other sources. So
yeah, that's what I thought. That when I saw this, I was like, well, this goes against what they said last year, because last year they were saying that the use of marijuana like increases your chances, but maybe that's because you share joints and
no, it's a respiratory virus. That's what COVID is. How is smoking weed going to help?
Explain to me.
How is smoking weed going to help a respiratory virus?
Yeah, I think it's all individual sides pushing their interests. I think somebody who is very fond of marijuana is like marijuana probably helps.
Figure this out.
It's awesome.
Let's get some of these Joe Rogan guys
cures
on
everything.
weed.
Cops smoke weed. Smoke weed every day. You know?
It is kind of like the great equalizer. Like everybody does it kind of for the most part. What's actually funny is I don't, but like I don't as that often, but I will say I have heard a shocking amount of articles about things that marijuana cures or helps. And it ranges from like depression and cancer and COVID to like why you and your brother don't get along, or like why
well, that one actually could help. Like, you're both high. It's going to get, the tension's coming down. So
that's also true. Yeah. So,
hey, give the cops some mushrooms. How about that?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Let them have a good cry.
And take the gun away, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually think that's issue number one. Before we give them weed or anything else, it's like, okay, how about you hand over anything that could immediately kill somebody? How about that? Okay. Now let's clear up your process here. Now let's talk to you. Yeah.
So you guys are not buying it. It's not the cure-all. You don't think it's blocking COVID?
Like I said, one particular strain of sativa, they said they had positive results in, but that is far from COVID. Weed cures COVID. I
didn't see that. They said one. It says 2 compounds commonly found in hemp called CBGA, cannabigerolic acid, and cannabidolic acid were identified during a chemical screening effort as having potential to combat coronavirus. Researchers from Oregon State University say. Boom.
Well, I had COVID and I smoked weed and I still had COVID. So.
But did you die?
No, but I was vaccinated too.
When I had COVID in New York, I had COVID in New York in February 2020 before anybody knew what it was, like let alone a vaccine or anything. So I'm like, yeah, I'm an early adopter. I'm patient 0 is what it is. And I will say that by the week 2 to 2.5, when I was still sick and like a Z-Pack didn't work, antibiotics didn't work, I still felt like shit. I self-medicated with a lot of whiskey and wine. And you know what? At least in the moment, I felt better.
It worked.
Right. And at the very least, it made me forget. I was like, because I would go to urgent care centers and doctors, and they're like, we don't know. It's probably the flu. Good luck. And I was like, no, this isn't the flu. What's happening? So
I bet heroin would have worked too.
Would have definitely numbed some shit. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
All right. We're going to keep it moving. I know you got to get out of here soon. Guys, welcome. And this girl's got credentials and I'm going to read them all. So just relax. We got Brittany Brave in the house. She is a New York, Miami comedy-based comedian, actress, writer, producer, and host. She has been seen on TBS, MTV, Quibi, The Wendy Williams Show, Sirius XM, and featured in New York Times, Elle, and on Ashton Kutcher's A+, and more. And she was in 2019 named the best talent at the New York Comedy Festival and Caroline's on Broadway, and recently won 92.9 The Points virtual comedy couch competition Disastrous Life of Diane Dimone. We're going to talk to you about that. And what I knew her from before I read all her credentials for the podcast, she was Miami Times 2021 Best Comedian. Welcome, Brittany.
Oh, shit. I didn't know you were on Quibi. That makes everything different.
I know, like, not to intimidate you too much. I was
like,
on a dead TV network.
Excuse him.
It's Quibi.
So thank you for being on. Like, I did not know like what the professional you were. Like, I didn't know you were an actress, all this. And so I was like, whoa, we got a real gem on the show. So thank you for doing this for real.
Thanks for dressing up. We appreciate it.
Thank you. You're welcome. You weren't talking to me?
No.
I put this mink on, this like fur coat, just to zhuzh up whatever I'm wearing, but here I am.
I like how it goes with the substitute school teacher glasses. That's
yes, that's exactly what it is. It's like Dexter's laboratory glasses.
All right. So let's get to it. How long have you been doing comedy, Brittany?
So I've been doing stand-up about 3 years, and then I have been performing like improv and sketch for literally like 15 plus years. So I started acting and stuff in elementary school, dancing, and I started doing improv in 6th grade. I did like all like UCB, the Pit, Second City, IO, like all of that stuff before I ever started stand-up. So
definitely raised my eyebrows. I was like, 3 years you did all that shit? That's crazy.
Yeah, right. That would be a lot. Yeah. Well, a lot of that stuff, a lot of the accolades and credits and stuff did come through stand-up and through New York and stuff like that. But I've technically been performing for like over 15 years. So
dope.
Gotcha.
That's dope. And then just impressive that you've just been doing stand-up 3 and still the credits, you know? What was your motivation to start stand-up comedy?
That relationship, honestly. I had like kicked around the idea of doing stand-up, but for the most part, I had thought it was like not for me at all, which is so funny. Like I thought I was like an improv sketch comedy girl. Like that's all I did. And I never considered stand-up. And then I just started like writing mostly jokes about that terrible relationship and telling these stories in the medium that would make sense with stand-up. So at the very typical Mrs. Maisel kind of thing, like left that relationship, rerouted my whole life. Yeah, started stand-up. Off we go. So
did you also take your boobs out on stage? Because I would have wanted to been at that show.
I do not, because I don't have boobs. So if I had them, they'd be out and I'd be jiggling them left and right. But I don't think anybody's excited to see 32 Bs. So I just keep those.
I would be excited to see 32 Bs.
Thank you.
I like them.
Every now and again they are, but yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. So
if I had Doug Jugs, they'd be out every night, baby. I'd be like, woo, ending my set with that. But yeah.
So since you've been doing comedy, what has been your proudest moment?
Honestly, probably just starting it. Honestly, that's one of 2 moments. Like I think it's something so many people say they're going to do and never get around to. And I think even more so than starting it, it's sticking with it. Because as we all know, it's hard as fuck. And there's a lot of nights the process is really ugly and hard. And there's a lot of nights where it doesn't feel good. So I think every time I continue to still actively choose this and show up for it, I'm pretty proud of myself. And yeah, I don't know. I think problems. I think any nights that I can get up and actually do that material, like the darker material about domestic violence and tell those stories. I had a show in New York in October. I did a live podcast recording all with survivors, and we did interviews and then comedy about DV. And I did like 30 minutes of literally exclusively just that material. And it felt really like gratifying and wonderful to like do it and feel comfortable doing it and get laughs and stuff like that. So that was like
that's hard to do. That's hard to take a dark subject and get people to laugh at it openly.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's turned a lot of rooms. Like it's not for every crowd, it's not for every set or every show, but it is or anytime I'm able to throw it out, and I have been able to only recently in like the last 6 months, like throw it out on bar shows or throw it out in like random nights where I'm like, fuck it, I'm doing it. Like at Taurus in the Grove. And I'm like, I just did it last week and I started like throwing some of those bits out, and it always feels like very, very gratifying and empowering to be able to, because that's like that's the shit
you
I
know
want to
what?
talk
Now I like regret. I remember when you went on stage because I went to Taurus after we did the
Oh yeah.
and I went to the bathroom and I missed your set because I went to smoke outside after, and I just now I'm like,
fuck
damn,
you guys, I gotta go. No.
you didn't do
I
too
wasn't
much
even
of it.
there.
You
Don't
didn't
lump me in here.
You didn't do too much of it at because we were on the cat show together. I don't remember doing too much of it.
The cat show I did a lot of like new stuff, and no, I didn't really get into it there. I was actually
cats particularly get turned off by domestic violence shows.
They get triggered.
Yeah.
They see a lot of shit. Yeah.
So real skittish.
Brittany, what's your favorite venue to perform at? And you cannot say
the Improvs.
Okay. In Miami.
For her because she performs in New York, so there's a lot of great clubs in New York too. So
I love Villain Theater.
We say not the Improvs because everybody would pick them.
She's answering.
I actually wouldn't pick. I love the Improv. I do. I love the Improvs, but I don't know if it would have been my first answer in terms of like just best sets and stuff, like, you know, but like Villain Theater probably.
I love it there.
And then in New York, I love Caroline's. Caroline's was like the first club that really passed me and stuff, and I always feel very at home there. And I also love QED in Astoria. It's a tiny club that does like comedy classes and workshops, and it's just wonderful, and it's always like very good vibes there. So
did you say Quibi? What?
QEB.
Oh, okay.
QED. Yeah. Nobody's performing out of Quibi. Yeah.
Right, so what has been your biggest challenge doing stand-up comedy?
Besides
being a woman, obviously.
Right. It is annoying to have this job and be a woman sometimes. Well, it is because
it is.
I just got asked to do an interview and they were like, I just want to talk about your experience, how it is to be a woman and also be a comedian. And I had to like decline. Like, I was like, thank you for the offer, but like, no, like, I was like, I just can't do that again. And like, we have to stop making it like, it's this like groundbreaking thing that women do comedy. Like, yeah. Like, but to your point, Terry, I agree with you. Like, that's why it's challenging. Cause it's
what's been your biggest challenge? Has that been because Terry's just mansplaining your challenges to you. Like, I don't.
Mansplaining is my biggest challenge. No, I'm kidding.
I don't think of being a woman hurts you in comedy.
Anyway, go ahead.
Many times before.
I'm talking to Brittany. What's your biggest challenge, girl?
My biggest challenge is I think sticking to probably working on that material and in general sticking to the things that I want to talk about. I think because I think it can be easy sometimes to like, we all have our moments and you have to do whatever the room allows. And some nights it's just about surviving, but
do you crowd work a lot?
I do. I like crowd work a lot. I never did it before. And then I relocated to Miami and there's no way not to down here sometimes. So I now love it because I think it makes it special for the people in the room. Like, I think it like brings them in a new way. But yeah, I think being able to show up and like, even if it bombs or it's tough or it turns a crowd off, like just pushing through the shit you actually want to talk about and taking your ego out of it. You know what I mean? Because you could get hacky, you could just lean on crowd work, you could go dirty and stuff like that. But then there's some nights where you're like, I kind of objectively ate a dick, but I got what I needed out of that, like out of that 10 minutes. Like I worked on stuff, I practiced stuff, and it felt good for me.
I guess that's a good method. If you start eating a dick right there, you're like, well, let me just make it an open mic. Fuck it.
Yeah.
You know?
And some nights, you just need to get
so I want to talk about you, Brittany, as a person. Like
my favorite subject. I'm kidding.
It may be yours too, guys. So where are you from? Are you from New York originally or from Florida?
I'm from both, which is weird because my whole family's from Jersey and New York, and I was born in Jersey, but I grew up and went to school down here in Miami. So I kind of consider myself from both. Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Felix Varela Senior High in Kendall. 305 till I died.
I act like I know where that's at. I'm from Texas. I don't know these Florida.
You don't need to know where Kendall is at or where Felix Varela is at. I live
either.
5 minutes from it right now. Stalkers unite. And I went to University of Florida for college.
Okay, so you are a Floridian New Yorker.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to ask?
You look like you're in a bathroom. Why do you look like you're in a bathroom?
I'm in my bedroom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just the way it was tilted, it looked like that.
I'm on the toilet right now. I'm taking.
I wanted to. It's been bugging me the whole time
This
because
is why
it's been bugging me the whole time. I'm like, why is she in a bathroom?
I'm not. I mean, I guess these look like bathroom doors.
Well, the whole time you're talking about domestic violence, and I'm like, oh, do you need help? Blink twice.
Yeah, I'm trapped right now. Actually, we're in the bedroom I lost my virginity in.
Sorry, Brittany. He has Asperger's, so he just says whatever he thinks. I apologize.
Comedy.
I chose to do the podcast with a guy that just, So anyway,
Don't look back.
I'll keep the questions going. That's the last time I'm gonna be like, tell you. So yeah. So do you have any other jobs? Do you have a day job, or do you just do comedy, acting, whatnot?
I mostly do comedy. That's what's paying most of my bills right now. But I do some like I do related stuff. Like I'm sponsored by a couple brands, so I make content for them and stuff like that. And then I am doing I'm working for a production company. I've done this for a little bit. It's my good friend's production company in the Bronx, and I do some content and strategy for them, but I also do a little bit of PR, so that kind of keeps
yeah. So you just you're in the industry, period. Like your other jobs kind of. That's really awesome. So tell us about your podcast, or I don't even know if it's a podcast. It's the
which one?
The disastrous dating life of Diane Damone.
Oh, that's my web series. Yeah. That's my web series. We started filming it in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, no less. And we got a couple episodes out and we released the first one and it was doing really well. And then we actually got a production company bought it, which is very.
So is it like a sitcom or?
It's a very alt comedy, quirky thing about dating and sex in New York. I like to with the comparisons we've used, it's like Fleabag a lot. Yeah. Fleabag meets high maintenance meets Fleabag meets high maintenance, I would say. Yeah. And it's fun. I got to be super involved in it. I was Diane and I produced it, cast it, just about everything, promoted it, everything. And yeah, now it's in the hands of, it's actually premiering very soon. I can't say where, when, and how quite yet legally, but it is premiering soon because this company basically just bought it, gave us money. We knocked out 3 more episodes.
Oh, okay. It's not available yet. Okay.
Yeah. At one point you were able to see some of it online, but we had to rip it down. But very soon you're going to be able to see all of it. So.
Can you watch it on Quibi?
No, you cannot. You can't watch anything on Quibi.
He's such a attentive host.
Yes, I think that's the only thing he's learned about me.
I just feel like
Quibi once.
You haven't any
the Quibi thing has been the one running joke we've had going here. So.
Do you have any other projects coming up or anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I'm headlining the Miami Improv on February 27th.
I saw that. Congratulations.
That's your birthday, right?
Ish. My birthday is February.
Her birthday month is what she said online.
Oh, okay. So it's the last day of the week.
It'll be a nice.
Are you one of those birthday week? Is it's my birthday week.
I usually do a week. I won't go as far as to do a month really, but I'll do a nice little week long. I'm traveling. I'm going to Charleston with my best friends. I'm doing something the night of my birthday, blah, 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 whatever. But I keep it to the week. Yeah. Keep it to the week. Maybe not the full month, but the week. Yeah.
So are you ready to play the blame game?
Hell yeah.
All right. Oh, I didn't realize I did not fix that on here, but you have a very patriotic, wholesome American name. Who's the name, Brittany Brave?
What is a what?
You have a very patriotic, wholesome American name.
Yeah.
Who's to blame?
My Italian grandfather for being a pussy and assimilating as fuck.
He wasn't brave? What are you talking about?
Yeah, he was not brave. That motherfucker was so connected to his Italian culture, born, raised, all this shit. And then the second he immigrated to America, he was like, no, thanks. And he went from Bravo to Brave. He picked the whitest, most American.
So it's originally Bravo.
Bravo, yeah. Okay. But he was like, people don't like Italians here. They think they're smelly and sketchy. And I'm like, we still are, but okay.
Italians are barely white. I will say that.
That's we are. Thank you. I'm cannoli.
No.
Speaking of white people.
That's all we had back then. We just had to pick a group to hate. I'm Irish. They hated us too.
True.
And then they were like, oh, well, they're actually cheap labor. Let's,
But
The same with the Italians. Yeah, my grandfather, I will say this, my grandfather was Sicilian, so he had olive skin, and he I think partially why he assimilated is somebody told him when he first got here, he was like, oh, you're one of the dirty skinned Italians, the dirty Italians. Yeah.
I literally hate people because they just, anyway.
Yeah.
Terry, Wayne, Brittany, I don't know if you're going to jump off because I know you have something to do at 8. Thank you so much for being on. We loved having you as a guest. Terry, what are your words for white people this week?
Okay. I had something you notice how this year I've been trying to go more upbeat. Yes. Trying to say nice, wholesome things. I was going to do that, but then I had to work in Palm Beach Island today. And I don't know if you know what it's like over on the island during the season, during the height of the season right now, but it's all the money in the world, right? That's why we're going to talk about entitlement, because a gentleman because a gentleman on County Line Road was stopped at a green light, and I had to lay the horn on and just kept it there for a good 15 seconds. And as we went through the turn, and there was a whole line of cars behind me, as we went through the turn, he rolled down the window of his Bentley and screamed at me, "Hey, I was busy." What the fuck?
Yeah.
How bad is your entitlement when you can sit there with a line of cars behind you and then defend that? I mean, I get it. You're old. You have money. But I swear to God, when he said that, it took everything. And I love my car. You know that. And it took everything inside of me not to just jack that wheel to the side right into his Bentley.
You would have sacrificed the car for this old man.
And just call it an accident. So that was all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to say, no matter what you do, nothing entitles you to anything. No matter how much money you have, no matter how much work you've done, or how much you've suffered, or how much baggage you carry, or nothing entitles you for anything good. We're all lucky to be here. We're lucky to be born in this country. We already won the lottery. So stop asking for more just because you feel like you're good enough, or you feel like you're pretty enough, or you feel like you're special enough, because I promise you're not.
I mean, I disagree. I think that we're all entitled to what we want, what our heart desires.
No, you're not entitled to it at all.
We are.
I think we're all entitled to things like basic respect and kindness and
care.
I would say basic respect and
healthcare.
I would take it a step further. I do agree, Terry. I would take it a step further. I think a lot of people think that they're entitled to also access to people, or people's trust, or people's time, and things like that too. I've experienced that, and it's you can't make somebody a demon just because they're not giving you access to them that you want. That doesn't make them a bad person.
That's funny that you brought, because I thought about it. This guy approached me at a gas station once, and I was like, no. And he started getting mad. I was like, bitch, you ain't entitled to shit. I owe you nothing. I was off. Because they act, men will act like they're so entitled to whatever. But my point is, all being entitled, I think we all deserve a house with a pool.
Here's the height of American entitlement. I was in a gas station. There was a guy in front of me. He was counting out little change, nickels, whatnot, this and that, trying to buy himself a little beer, right? He's a homeless guy. And I said, I'm going to do my good deed for the day. And I said, you know what? You can put his with my stuff. It's fine. And the guy looked over at me and goes, and a hot dog? I was like, never mind. I just pushed it back.
You buy the hot dog with the dollar you saving.
I was like, never mind.
Yeah.
Nope.
And
I looked him right in the eye and I didn't pay for it.
Then you remember, oh wait, I hate people. They don't.
Yeah.
He's right. We're not entitled to anything.
The only thing wrong with COVID is that it's not deadly enough. I've said it from the beginning.
On that
note. There's some people that, anyways, I'm gonna say something that's gonna get me canceled, but yeah. Mostly about some people that do comedy. I'm you don't do the microphone. Shut up.
Already. You didn't know that? Just being on this show got you canceled.
Thank God. I'm waiting for something to actually break my career. Yes.
Okay, guys, thank you for tuning in. It was such a pleasure to have you, Brittany. Not you so much, Terry, but no, we already know that.
I'm a burden.
So I have to restrain myself from physical violence so much.
That's why we don't do the show in person all the time.
Yeah. So, but thank you guys both. And until next week, bye guys.